Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Crystal, and today I'm going to be wrapping up October. So in the month of October, I didn't read that many books, but I read quality books. Books of substance, books more than 400 pages or so. So a lot of pages were read this month, which is really exciting. And I read possibly my favorite book of the year. So let's just get into my wrap up. The first book I read was The October Country by Ray Bradbury. This is a bunch of short stories, spooky short stories by Ray Bradbury, who is one of my favorite authors of all time. These stories are just timeless, and I just can't wait to revisit them again next October. I want to say my favorite story that gave me the spooks, because these stories are a little antiquated, like they're not as scary. I think over time I've just become desensitized to certain things from reading so much horror and watching so much horror in television as well. But I really got spooked in The Emissary. Kind of reminded me of Pet Sematary a little bit there. I think Stephen King recently spoke about that story and like a relation that he had with that story as well. So I really enjoyed this. Definitely check it out. And there are some like illustrations in here too that go along with the stories. Next book I finished was Dracula by Dacre Stoker and J.D. Barker. I've talked about this book recently. I finished it this month, devoured it. I absolutely loved it, and I think it possibly might just be my favorite book of the year so far. I just absolutely loved it. It is a prequel to Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is written by his great-great-grandson, I believe, or his great-grandson. I don't really know timing-wise, but anyway, a family member. So it's the perfect prequel to events leading up to Dracula. And if you are a fan of vampires, if you are a fan of Dracula and the origin story of vampires, definitely check out Dracula. It is a historical fiction as well, so if you like historical fiction, which I'm starting to get into, I'm actually enjoying some historical fictions recently, which is a good thing. But this is just such a gothic, dark vampire story. And if you're looking for that, if you're still looking for that, even though Halloween is over, October is over, I highly suggest this book. It's going to be on my list of favorites for this year, for 2019, for sure. And I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, rightfully so. The next book that I almost did not finish, but I pushed through, is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now, I don't know if it's because I picked this up after I finished Dracula, and maybe I was in a reading slump because I really enjoyed Dracula, but I just did not love Ninth House. It is not what I expected, and if you haven't picked it up yet, it is not going to be what you expect it to be. So listen to me now, it is not that book. Really cool concept. I really liked how the ghosts were used in this, how the main character Alex sees ghosts, and that's a really cool aspect, and I like what Leigh is doing with that. So I'm honestly going to pick up the second book in the series. I just felt like there was so much wrong with this. It was like reading a murder mystery the entire time, and there was just so much dialogue that was unnecessary throughout this book, and I just got so bored. I lost track of the timeline. The timeline is totally misconstrued. I don't know if we're in the past, or if we're in the present, if we're in the future, for God's sake. It was just, I don't want to say it was a mess, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. Now, Leigh Bardugo is still my favorite author, alongside Stephen King, and I will always read her books, and I absolutely love her writing, but the dialogue that she used, and just there was just so much unnecessary information. This book did not have to be this big, and I was just bored. And the ending was great, so I will continue on with the series, but to read 500 pages for that ending was really annoying, and I don't know. I feel like she could have went in a different direction for this book. I don't know if she just over-edited and overthought the concept, but the concept, the content, really interesting. The plot and the dialogue, I couldn't follow. I just couldn't follow. So I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars because there were things that I did enjoy. It is not a bad book by any means. I just couldn't fall into the story. So like I said, if you're someone who hasn't read it yet, it is not going to be what you think it is. But really cool stuff in here. Secret societies, Yale, Ghost, really cool stuff. But things were just not the way I thought it was going to be in Ninth House. So hopefully, second book holds up to what I thought Ninth House was going to be. But yes, 3 out of 5 stars, and that's kind of being nice. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I should maybe reread it, if you feel that maybe I lost my place somewhere in the story and maybe I should just reread it when I'm in a better headspace for it. I'm really up to rereading it. I would love to reread it if it, maybe I just missed the mark on it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below if you did read this and if you think I should reread it and it will possibly change my review and my star rating for the better. So let me know in the comments down below. Next book I finished, Dr. Sleep by Stephen King. I read this for the second time since release. I believe I purchased this book on release day. I don't know if it was in 2006 or I know I was like driving. I know I had my driver's license, but I remember being almost an adult. Like I definitely was not an adult. I was still a kid when this book came out. I read it, didn't really remember much of it. Also, I don't think I was well read on The Shining at the time. I think I had just watched the movie. So picking this up before even reading The Shining, I kind of missed things and I didn't enjoy it. Second time around reading it now, wow, this book is phenomenal. The concept is phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. I don't understand how anyone who read it could give it a low rating because Stephen King really puts into perspective where Danny is now as an adult and the path that he took, and it's just really freaking good. Also, the villains in the story, really wild, really crazy concept with the steam, really interesting. I absolutely loved that aspect of the story. I flew through this. I absolutely flew through this, and this is a hefty book. But this is definitely a King that I will recommend if you've read The Shining, but if you want to read something else of his that will go pretty quickly because it's quite thrilling and you meet a new character in here, a young girl who has The Shining as well, and Danny takes her under his wing because they can telekinetically talk to each other. Really, really cool. Yes, like I said, check it out if you haven't, and I believe the movie is out or coming out this week. I don't know, by the time I'm filming this and get it up, I don't know, but it should be out by now, and I can't wait to see the movie because it seems like it's going to be amazing, and it is directed by Michael Flanagan, who did House on Haunted Hill, and he does so many great horror-esque movies, so I can't wait to see it, and I definitely think he's going to blow Stanley Kubrick out of the water. Lastly, the book that I finished is this short story collection called Hex Life with a ridiculous amount of authors in here. I mean, almost every story was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's a short story collection of stories about witches, and it's just what I needed in my life for when I need that fantasy, that fiction element of witchcraft, and I really, really enjoyed it. I will have to say it's not a 5-star. Because there were some stories that I didn't like, some stories I liked, some were kind of like eh, some were like way out there, but overall I really enjoyed this, so I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So that's pretty much it. That's all I read this October, and I'm gonna be trying to do that a little bit more, not cramming so many books in every month. I really want to absorb myself into the books, especially so many books are coming out in November that I really, really like to get to, and they're hefty ones, and I just want to absorb myself into them. Call Down the Hawk is coming out, and The Toll by Neil Shusterman is coming out, which is the final book in the Scythe series, and The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, which I have been waiting years for. So those 3 books, I'm definitely needing to hunker down and concentrate on them. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you all had an amazing Halloween. I did. I got to really, really enjoy it this year, and I just can't believe it's over. It just came so fast, and it's over so fast, and now we're concentrating on the holidays. So pretty crazy, right? I can't wrap my head around it. It's insane. But anyway, that is all I have for you guys today, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Bye!